Hello everyone, my name is Eric Mullins, and today we're going to be checking out a statue that is published by Square Enix. However, it's manufactured and created by Flare companies to be from the game Nier Automata. A perfect fusion of beautiful and spicy all wrapped up into one gorgeous blindfolded beauty. I have actually never managed to beat this game. I love everything about it. I listen to the soundtrack like crazy. I have the statue, the Nendoroid, the music boxes. I have a PlayStation 2 copy I've never even opened. I have a Switch copy which I've gotten pretty far in but just didn't beat. Playing games is so incredibly hard. I have such little time. I'm always constantly working on my manga, and I love the design so much to this that I actually drew one of my characters named Mika cosplaying in this outfit. That was a fun Halloween livestream sketch. I actually did watch a whole playthrough of the first part of the game because I know there's multiple alternate endings. I'm not going to spoil any for you. Please don't spoil any for me. I kind of watch playthroughs that are like edited to feel like an anime while I'm drawing. Being the absolute huge Robot Girl fan that I am, this is gorgeous. Though she does look far more human than robotic, regardless, it's an absolute beautiful design, and Flare did an excellent job recreating her. There are two different versions to this figure, and the version that I'm going to be reviewing today is the one with all the bells and whistles, so I think it's like the special edition or something like that. However, if you get just the regular one, you're just going to be missing the added-on parts like little robot here, alternate head, and alternate body. But I'll get into those in the second part of the review. Starting with the base, it's a simplistic, round, black one, matte. It's kind of boring, but I do think it works really well with the figure. This is one of those rare times where despite I find the base to be a little lacking luster, I do think that it works well here. The engraving is very nice, it has this beautiful design, and then the cute little writing of "For the Glory of Mankind" on there really gives me that 40k vibe, and it should because this takes place super far in the future. And on the base, just that little circular engraving going around it, it's small, but it adds a little to this so it doesn't feel as plain, I suppose. Moving up from that, we have her thigh-high boots, which look absolutely fantastic. There's so much detail into this, from the stretching of the material, which kind of gives off this leathery feel, to this beautiful metallic-looking sole for her high heels. They look very, very nice. Moving up into her calves, which are large and fit. This whole thing is incredibly fit, but it makes sense because it's like a robot, right? So I guess it's just the peak of robotic human technologies. I absolutely love the line that you get on the back of the boot with this gorgeous lacing that you have it attached near her thighs. This is so nice, and it's not something that necessarily needed to be on there. I feel like I have so many figures with thigh-high boots that it's just like a, yank it up and that's it. I mean, this is really pays attention to so many of those little details. The boot actually is beveled inward, so it really feels like it's being pulled up and coming out a little bit, which is really nice. Where we then get into these transparent stockings that have a nice thick black band at the top that looks like it's probably rubber or something, so it sticks to her skin a little better. Her skin is most probably rubber as well. I mean, I don't know, but she's a robot, so I don't think it's like real skin. But the skin here is done very soft and very pale, so it almost doesn't look human. We then get to see just a little bit of her bathing suit, bodysuit piece that she has underneath, and it looks pearlized. It's very nice. Pearlization really gives it a nice contrast to the matte that we have from the rest of her clothing, where it's all playfully covered over by this incredibly short yet very extravagant dress that she has.
The underside of her skirt is pearlized as well and full of motifs and extra details all over the place, in which is actually not really noticeable. I'm surprised they didn't make her skirt flowing a little outwards so we could see this more.
With a cut up going all the way up to the waist, but having a beautiful bow on top of it, which has so many details on it. You can actually see the thread lines of the material used to create this bow. It's very nice. The flow of her dress is fantastic and really looks similar to that in the game. It almost has kind of this leathery or plastic look to it as well, the way that it folds all over the place, and the little design that you have that goes all around it, done in a slight lighter gray. It is so beautiful, and it's almost like a dark metallic or a gunmetal silver. As we move up to her waist, she has some really nice stretching going here and there of the fabric, and you can see the seam line here in which you take her apart, but it's so cleverly done where it's on the same line where you end up having more thread from the sewing of the fabrication of her clothing, so it feels like it all works together. It's a very clever way to hide these sectioning off pieces. Flare, you are pretty good at this. Her chest, we have this nice little cutout window, like in the game, it's three-dimensional, so you can see her bare chest underneath. However, the top part of her chest here is actually a bit of a point of contention for me. I don't know how I feel about just the matte paint that's supposed to resemble the mesh design. It's supposed to be somewhat transparent, so just having this paint here, there's no shading, there's no highlights, but despite it not looking so bad on her thigh, on the chest, I do think it looks a little off. On the back, however, it looks fantastic. It really doesn't bother me so much here, but even then, you know, maybe a bit of shading to where the back line is would have been nice for her spine, and we don't really get that. What we do get is tons of little details, more threading, and just all these beautiful sectioned off lines here. This looks like it would be a costume designer or cosplayer's dream to create, providing you really love sewing. It's just you can see all the parts that are clicked in here and there, and it's just really nice. Then we have these beautiful poofs, which kind of make me think, I guess, of like ballerina-ish as it goes down on her arm, and they are beautifully done. We don't really have a lot of shading or highlights. They kind of just do such a good job with the sculpture, and everything is so matte and black that the lighting kind of gives us all we need for that. I'm okay with this sometimes. However, as it comes down on her arm and we have these feathers popping out, I would have liked some highlights on the feathers. There's so much detail on there. It would have been nice just to see maybe some highlighted feathering on these feathers. After which we get to the pearlized forearms and gloves. So these forearms look fantastic. I really love how elegant they are. The tiny little designs all over the gloves are fantastic. But one thing I'd like to mention about this left hand is that the shape that it's taking, you could actually probably get away with putting another cool weapon in that hand. I have this old Sekiro sword that I gotten from GameStop, which was part of like a pre-order exclusive, and this thing actually fits in her hand. I put it in there and I was so surprised. It looks kind of cool, so I had it in there for a little while, but at the end of the day, it's a little overkill and it takes up so much space, so I took it off. But I did want to mention it because I thought it was still pretty cool. Now talking about her right hand, it's holding this sword, and this sword looks so nice. It actually looks like it's built out of, I don't know, some sort of old-fashioned ivory of sorts. Maybe not ivory, that's probably a bad choice, but it does look really nice. I like the little tassel at the end. It's really cool how it's actually on there with the little metal ring. It almost feels like a real one. I'm happy that they didn't put real material or anything on there either, because that would have really clashed with the entire design. If you're gonna do things like that where you put real like ropes and things like that, you gotta put it everywhere, otherwise it tends to look a bit off. As we go down into the handle, it just looks beautifully well wrapped and also a bit worn, which I think is kind of cool. The blade guard is just so awesome. I love all the motifs that are all across it. You have it on both sides too. The underside being a darker gray, whereas the top side is a little bit lighter. Very, very nice. Now let's talk about this blade, because it looks very video gamey to me. To have a bunch of textures and weathering on the handle to go into this blade, which is just perfect. She definitely takes very good care of her weapon. It's all white and there's no shading on it whatsoever. It's not reflective, it's matte, which I feel like they should have maybe put a gloss on the sword part. I don't know. For real, I don't have this weapon in the game, so I'm not sure exactly how accurate it's supposed to be, but for somebody who knows nothing, it does still look really cool. I like how it feels video gamey and a little unrealistic. And even having the rope here attaching the blade into what seems like the handle or the hilt, it's just, this is really cool. I love all the tiny little details that are on this. As for her face, it's super cute. I think that it looks beautiful. I love that they put the little mole there. Her nose looks very, very nice. Her lips actually have a bit of gloss to them, which really makes them pop in contrast to the rest of this character. I can't tell if it's lipstick or not. I don't think she would be wearing lipstick. It's just, she's a robot, so her lips are permanently like that. The facial expression is very emotionless, which actually just really feels 2B-ish. I mean, playing that game, it's not like she has tons of emotions. I like how sharp the chin is. It really does have the same frame as the actual character from the game, which is really fantastic. The blindfold covering the eyes is really cool, and again, you have that stitching in there. It's just everywhere. Like, adding the stitching all over the place is beautiful. I love it. It's awesome. Thank you so much for this, Flare. I won't get into how much I love the design of having some blindfolded character like this with the beautiful ribbon on the top of the hair and the round little head piece that she has for her hair and her cut, but it's just, I'm a huge fan. Her hair is pearlized, which really gives it a robotic, synthetic vibe, and I live for every single detail on it. They put so many strands on here that if they did section off parts and you had those seam lines, they wouldn't be noticeable. And for real, I'm always going on about hair. When you keep having these seam lines when you're designing your characters, and your characters have flat or rounded out hair, just add multiple lines everywhere in your design and in your sculpt, and it will get rid of that seam line problem. I get that you want it to look like the anime, and a lot of the animes it's smooth and perfection, but adding a couple of lines in there will make it look nicer than having one single seam line going across. Which this figure does super well. I love the bonnet, it's cute. But everything here is cute. This is just such a cute and spicy and beautiful design. It's so elegant, like the design is gorgeous, and Flair just did such a good job bringing it to life. But this isn't all. If you get this special edition to this character, they give you one miniature robot, one alternate head, and one super spicy bathing suit body. So let's swap things up and see if it's worth getting all these extra parts. That is a big, thick piece, and look how deep that hole goes. It's very solid. Look how long that neck peg is. Super long. Is it worth it? Let's find out. Yorha Type 2B style is looking very combat aerodynamic. As if the dress really got in the way. It feels like a bathing suit, but this is so spicy. I would almost say it feels more spicy than some figures that I have that are made to be spicy. So spice. What's kind of fun is we actually get to see a lot more of the details of the stockings, as well as in the back of her boots a bit more, because the dress isn't covering it up. You also get to see the amazing job that the sculptor did designing the rest of her body. I'm curious if the sculptor designed her like this first and then made the dress after. The bathing suit looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the pearlized and gloss that it has on it because it really pops from the rest of the matte that this figure is showing off. The gray motif along with a bunch of the stitching again is just mwah. And I love how there's little cutout holes that show her skin behind it. From the back of the bathing suit, we actually get this really nice line that goes up her spine that looks like the sewn attachment for it, along with these beautiful little beveled finishing touches going along the outside of the bathing suit. Her skin is sculpted in a way so that it actually bevels out as well from where this tight clothing is attaching. It's all immaculately well done and very well sculpted. The skin is so soft. And now that we see so much of it here, it actually creates a nice break from her different textures and colors going on in the whole design. The top mold with the hairpiece and the little hairband is the same as what you get on the other one, with the difference being the face obviously. With the blindfold finally removed, we can see those beautiful baby blues, and they are kind of creepy. You don't have any lighting or reflection or anything that are drawn on the decal, and it's really sculpted in as well, which is really nice. They look emotionless and very robotically calculating. The next thing that this super special edition comes with is this epic robot. It's like the little turret that follows her around and shoots like a machine gun. I don't remember its name, so if you happen to know, please write it down in the comment section below. It looks so nice. Now let's start with this base. It's, you know, simple, black, but this actually has a bit of texture to it, which kind of feels like a pixelated gradient, where the small circular beveled area slowly goes up as it comes from the back, giving you a bit of an elevation with this texture. I feel like I would have liked to see this on 2B as well, but it looks really cool on this robot. We then have the metal stand, which is very thick, very solid. This character is pretty wobbly, like a bobbly head, but it is still stable because of how big the base is. So that's cool. I mean, at least you know it's not going to fall down on you by accident in one of your displays. Talking about the figure itself, the arms actually are articulated. They can move back and forth. I don't know if any other joints can move on it, but it's not something I really want to play with. I like putting my figures into one kind of pose, and then I don't really move them anymore. So I don't know. This is like a feature that some of you might be happy about. Most of you probably won't care. But all the pistons and joints, piping, wiring, all the super cool differences in colors and textures and different types of metals. This is really cool. I love seeing the panel lines that we have here and there. The bolts where it seems like you could screw them out and pull out this whole thing and see all this extra details on the inside. It's so awesome. And then this cute little hat at the top, which kind of looks like eyes or like a little face. I don't know, but it's very cute. As of the timestamp of this video, there are currently 3 re-releases to this figure. I myself had opted to get her during the second one, and at that point she was 20,800 yen, though I know the third release of her, they actually pumped up the price, which makes sense because of the size of everything here. One thing I didn't really mention, and it's very worth mentioning, is she's not actually a scale figure. So if you're collecting 1/7s, 1/4s, 1/6s, whatever, she's not gonna really fit in with that. They just kind of built her. So that's a bit of a negative, but on the plus side, you get such a large figure. Like, she's huge. And she comes with so many parts if you get this special edition. If you get the standard one, she's about 13,800 yen. That's a big difference in price. So at this point, you gotta do some real soul searching. Stop. Wake up early one morning. Just watch the sunset. Contemplate all hours in the night of your bed. Every waking minute at work, just be thinking about it all day. Do you want her with this beautiful dress looking as adorable as usual? Or do you want to have this epic robot with her? I think we all know the real reason that you want to get this special edition. Jokes aside, I actually did get her because I wanted this little robot. I genuinely leave her in her beautiful little skirt here. I think that the design in which they created 2B with that perfect mix of super spice and also elegant and cute, like all of it is so nice, and the skirt has a massive part of that sex appeal and that beauty because of the fact that it's so short and it's cut in a certain way that really makes you go, oh, this is so spiced. But then at the same time, you're like, oh, but it's so pretty and it's so well done. So it's really well balanced. This is not balanced at all in that regard, but in the breaks in color, it definitely is. For everything you're getting here at that price point, I definitely think it's worth it because of how big she is. But again, you're gonna have to really do some soul searching to see if maybe she's for you, because she's really not gonna fit in everyone's collection. I know over the years they've made a bunch of other ones. You can actually get an anime version, which looks really cute as well. The poster's a little more dynamic, but I actually prefer the video game version, which is rare because I really do love that anime aesthetic. When guests come over to my place with all the statues and figures I have in my house, this one does get noticed quite often because of the sheer dynamic design that she has. People that don't even know what she's from will look at it and be like, what's that? The blindfold is really cool. And that ends my review. If you liked it just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell. This way you'll be notified of future episodes that I make. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing day, and see you next time. Bye. The music boxes are so pretty. They're so cool. I love how they look kind of like those black boxes from the game, and at the same time they sound so lovely. I'm not sure how much I can get away with playing on a channel like this, but let's try it. Just something about those squeaking, turning cogs while it's playing that just fits Nier Automata so well. It's like you're not just getting a little music box, it feels like you're getting a piece of the game. What is this, like some music box review? Hi everyone, my name is Eric Taramelons, and welcome to the new channel of Music Box Review. I only have 2, so it's gonna be a short series. I'm not really doing a music box review, I was just like a dumb joke. Sorry everybody that got excited for music box reviews.